What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. In today's show, we're going to talk about a case study with a married couple who are currently in their early 50s with just under $1 million of investable assets. And they're looking to retire in about 12 years from now. About 2037 is when they came to us and said we would love to retire then. They would also like to have about $7,000 a month of income. And in this case study, we're going to talk through what their primary concerns are. What type of income could they have if they were to retire in 2037, and just some other possibilities with their retirement goals. So, like I said, they're currently in the early 50s. The husband makes about $200,000 a year. The wife makes about $50,000 a year. So they have a great household income. They both qualify for their own Social Security. And when they came to us and they sat down, they had some primary concerns with their retirement planning. Those would be, number one, they were questioning how they could maximize their Social Security. Number two, they were looking for ongoing tax efficient planning to reduce their long-term tax bill. Number three is they're looking for employer guidance and benefits. Number four, they're looking at aligning all the moving parts of their financial life to create a successful retirement. Number five was maximizing investment returns and also minimizing risk. And number six was looking at an investment plan that was both before and after retirement. Kyle, anything you want to add there?
Yeah, I'm going to add in some things. So, congrats to this household that kind of took that initiative early on because, our sweet spot is like those people that are, have just recently retired or they're about that 10 years out. So, very rarely are we getting someone that's, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 years out, kind of taking that initiative to say, hey, this stuff's really important to me. So congrats to them. You guys have done a great job saving. And now we're going to start addressing some of those concerns they have. So potentially like one of their deals is like, how do we maximize Social Security? And there's a couple ways you can look at this. And maximizing Social Security, are we talking like cumulative benefits, life expectancy? Because if we're just going to look at Social Security by itself, you're going to go on Google and type in, how do I maximize my Social Security? You might get some conflicting results where someone might say, hey, take it earlier because if you pass on, or take it and invest it, or hey, you might as well wait till 70 because you're going to get a higher cumulative benefit over your lifetime. And I always break down the Social Security as like, if we're going to flip this switch and take it early, and it's going to set off 5 other switches, like, did we want that to happen? So if we just look at a Social Security calculator, it's going to say, hey, wait till 70, you're going to get a higher cumulative benefit over your lifetime. Like for this household, if they did end up waiting, they're going to get close to about $1.9 to $2 million in Social Security benefits over their lifetime, and like assuming that they live to 90 and 94, like they kind of said they were hoping to live to. But at the end of the day, that's not necessarily when we're going to recommend taking Social Security. So maximizing it, like what it means to me or to this household or this household could be completely different. So that's one thing we have to keep in mind. The second thing is they said ongoing tax efficient planning, being that they are, 10 plus years out from potential retirement. They do have some time to incorporate multiple tax planning strategies. I kind of look at this from the tortoise versus the hare. I know we talk a lot about Roth conversions, and it does help a lot of people's plans a lifetime to pay less in taxes, but they're going to basically be able to combine making Roth 401k contributions, Roth IRA contributions, and doing small Roth conversions along the way. Employer benefit guidance, this is a good one. It's just basically saying like, hey, I have most of my retirement savings. Yes, they are on the outside in like rollover IRAs because I've jumped around employer to employer, but I want to make sure I'm maximizing my employer benefits, whether it's, making sure I'm making life insurance decisions, selecting the correct mutual funds inside my plan, making the right contributions to complement what I'm doing on the outside, aligning all moving parts of my financial life. So again, some people are really scattered out with like old 401k IRA, Roth, spouse has a SEP IRA, kind of just making sure we're doing some consolidation, and making sure everything's working together. And then lastly, they said maximizing investments. If you think about their time horizon, 10 plus years, ideally, their main focus, without even asking them a risk profile questionnaire, should be growth. What happens today or yesterday in the markets or after the election it really, it's not going to impact their long-term plan because they're going to be long-term focused. And then investment plans before and after retirement. So that kind of all works together.
Yeah, and like with their investment specifically, they have just like I said, just under about $1 million, and most of that, like 95% of that, only most of that's in tax deferred money. Only about $10,000 are they have in Roth accounts. So a lot of money in that tax deferred. So potential big tax problem in the future. So they're looking to for someone to partner with now to kind of guide them through to retirement and then also in retirement with that potential tax problem that they could have.
Yeah, so like retirement planning goals, let's just kind of go back to this. So first understand viewers, listeners, a retirement plan is not just, hey, let's plug a bunch of data into a software. It's going to spit out an 80-page report and give me some probability of success. That's a great way to maybe just kind of make sure your goals and everything are aligned and like your inputs. But like a retirement plan is a living, breathing document. It's not like, hey, you do it once and you're done. It's like, what adjustments need to be made up and down, sideways to kind of keep my plan on track. So, like, for is it for you, for them, their goal was how do we maintain our lifestyle? Like what we're doing now, that's what we want to do early on in retirement. Because right now they are in their lower 50s, so they are doing some travel now, and they want to continue to be able to do that into retirement. We had those projected retirement dates all the way out till 2037, but after we did some planning here, we actually bumped up what we call that work optional date, and that's like basically saying, hey, at what point could I financially like stop working and replace my income with investments and Social Security and all my resources? So that date was actually 3 years sooner than what the target date was. The household still plans on working until 2037, but a lot can change, and they are sleeping at night just knowing that that retirement date could be 3 years earlier. And then as far as like spending wise, they could safely spend about $9,000 per month without making any crazy adjustments to their plan. If their portfolios were to rise in retirement, so we're kind of projecting them to be around 2.3 to 2.4 million at retirement based upon the investment plan. If they were to be closer to about 2.7, they could spend around $10 to $11,000 per month, and really a market pullback would only, their portfolio would need to drop all the way down to about $1,324,000, and they only need to adjust their lifestyle by $500 per month. And so that's kind of what they were looking for as far as like spending and summarizing their goals. The whole goal was to get away from just like a diversified pie chart and a social security statement. They wanted to start doing some tax planning strategies. So from a social security perspective, we went against kind of what a social security calculator would say. So we call it like, here was your roadmap suggestion, is the husband and the wife claimed it at the same time, which was in 2039, and that provided them roughly about $72,000 in Social Security income, keeping in mind that the spouse kind of had her own business started, so she wasn't really contributing enough into Social Security where she would actually be claiming on her own. So from their claiming scenario here, let's pull this back up. Yeah, so the spouse was going to be basically filing for spousal benefits at the same time the spouse claimed his full at his Social Security. So basically, how a spousal benefit would work is the wife couldn't claim the spousal benefit until the husband claimed his own Social Security. You cannot claim a spousal benefit unless the other spouse has claimed their own benefit. So hopefully that kind of clears that up for everybody. And then as far as like their order of withdrawals go, since we were going to be executing some tax planning along the way, they were going to bridge their gap. So when the husband did retire, they were going to live on some cash to pull out from their cash management withdrawals and IRA withdrawals until they took their Social Security. And at that point, they were going to live on Social Security, tax deferred, and then start spending some Roth money. So that's kind of their action items on their income plan.
Yeah. Was there any, because I know we talked about they only have currently about $10,000 in a Roth account right now, Roth IRA. Are there any planned conversions happening, in their plan that will allow them to beef up that Roth account?
So from a tax planning perspective, this is kind of just a summary of how their Roth and tax planning would work. Um, Based upon their contribution rates, most of their pay was going into the traditional 401k. What we're going to actually do is lower your pay, your contribution rate down to about $500 per pay period into the Roth 401k. So that's going to give you about $13,000 a year into the Roth 401k. And then we're going to take that excess savings that we weren't saving inside of the Roth or inside the 401k. That money is going to cash flow to your bank account. And now we're each going to max out each of their Roth IRAs in the private sector at $8,000 per month each. And on top of that, so that's basically with those two combinations, that's $29,000 of contributions going into Roth 401k and private Roths. And then we're going to execute roughly around 15,000 and change of Roth conversions. And that's going to basically allow them, since they're under 59 and a half, what we're going to do is move 15,000 from the rollover IRA into the Roth IRA, withhold no federal tax, and use some of their cash throughout the year to pay those tax bills. So that's just kind of a summary of what would happen in like 2024 and 2025. And hey, tax laws are supposed to change in 2026. And if they don't, here's what we're going to do. But their goal was basically by the time they retired, we're going to have roughly $212,000 of Roth conversions completed. We've made over $200,000 of Roth IRA contributions. And that should basically be able to support their lifestyle of about $5,000 per month from IRAs, $3,000 per month coming from Roth IRA income, and the rest of everything else is coming from Social Security. So that's kind of a summary there.
So if we go back to their concerns, and one of their last concerns that they had checked on our boxes was the investment plan before and after retirement. And that investment plan, the purpose of it is to invest smarter. And this is done by focusing on the rate of return that is required to hit and maintain their retirement goals. So they came to us with, hey, here's our goals for retirement. So now we want to help them build out an investment plan that will help them achieve and maintain those goals that they have for us. We're not chasing returns, and our goal is to reduce extreme volatility while also helping them achieve those goals. And so, Kyle, what did we come up with their investment plan?
Yeah, so action items, reposition and consolidate investments to better kind of aim for their goals. So again, growth focused. They kind of understood after some little education that growth should be the main focus. They can withstand some market volatility along the way. Their overall goal was to get about 8.5 to 9% in long-term returns. They're going to focus on maybe increasing their dividend rates, so incorporating some dividend growth stocks, so that from where they started to where they'll be, their portfolio in 10 years will be able to keep paying them more income. Increased long-term annual returns, and then just kind of remember going back. So we're going to make sure that tax-deferred money and tax-free money are not invested the same, right? Because from their perspective, we're doing Roth contributions and Roth conversions. We're going to have the tax-free money kind of just have the highest long-term growth potential. I'm not going to say the riskiest, the highest long-term growth potential versus like the tax-deferred bucket. So that's just kind of where I'm going to leave everything. Just remember, going back to tax planning, the 4 goals of tax planning are always this: be better prepared for major tax system overhauls. We can talk all day and guess, but at the end of the day, if tax laws do get an overhaul and change in the future, you're better prepared for those changes. Number 2, you're better prepared for bear markets, whether it's early in retirement or before retirement, not being forced to sell more shares at a loss. Number 3, if you are married, tax planning is definitely great for your spousal plan, and make sure if there's a loss of a Social Security check, the spouse can start spending tax-free income to avoid bumping up to the next tax bracket. It also allows you to keep more of your Social Security in the future. And the last one is it can potentially help you pay for your skilled care at the end of life to pull out tax-free distributions. And if your kids are your beneficiaries, that's good for them because now they can inherit that money and not worry about paying all those tax bills to Uncle Sam over 10 years. And then at the end, just opportunistically remember the things, a living, breathing document. We have the roadmap. This is the base plan, but adjustments are going to, be made along the way. And here's why and how much needs to be done. So that's like a recap, a good case study. A couple in their low 50s, just giving you like a 30,000 foot high level view of kind of how this would look without diving into the weeds.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode.